Some of you all know that I used to be a military intelligence analyst in the United States Army from 1987 till 2008. Most of my time was spent as wearing that hat as an intel guy. Much of that time was spent doing Soviet order of battle assessments, doctrines, things like this, figuring out their tanks, their bullets, their guns, their manpower, their staffing, their MTO tables, their historical value from World War II, the personalities that made up the units. And I took a personal interest in this. Beyond professional, I took a personal interest in this. I wanted to learn Russian, but I didn't do well on the language DLAB. It's called DLAB, D-L-A-B, Defense Language Aptitude Battery Test. I didn't do well on that. So, or I didn't qualify enough to go to the language program. So I didn't do it. So what's going on in the world right now is completely avoidable. We here in the West have lost our minds. Russia's not a bad country. They're not. Their people are good. They're not perfect, but they're not bad. And I'm listening right now to a podcast with Scott Ritter. I've known this guy for over 20 years, and I've always agreed with him, always. His analysis has always been really good, spot on, and I've always embraced this. And he's talking stuff right now. I mean, this was done, I think, just a few hours ago, and today is the 31st of January, 2023. So I rewound it a little bit. I'm going to play now just a couple minutes, and I'm going to just kind of capture just a couple moments of what he's talking about. Okay, and well, I'll just let you hear it.
We literally don't have that. So, what the Russians do, the Russians are getting ready for the big one. And we're sitting here, talk. I bring up that line from one of my favorite movies, Top Gun. Son, your mouth's writing checks your body can't cash. And that's literally what NATO's doing. Stoltenberg opens his mouth and people should just punch it and shut it forever. Baerbock opens her mouth, never punch a woman, but please ask her to be quiet. Anybody who speaks now, who is the Dutch admiral just came out, the director of the NATO Military Council, just came out and he's like, we are ready for a war. You're not ready for anything, dude. You couldn't even get your guys out of garrison. I mean, this is a joke. You'd think it's a Monty Python movie, it's so bad. But it's not. It's sad. It's sad because here's the thing, and people sometimes think that because I articulate a stance that's analytically supportive of what Russia's doing, that somehow I have it out for Ukraine. I don't at all. My heart breaks for what's happening. This is the death of a nation. This is the death of a society. This is death of people. Human beings, mothers, children, sons, grandfathers, fathers, uncles, aunts. They are dying right now and they are suffering. And the only people to blame is the collective West, the United States. Everybody who has allowed this nation to be sacrificed in the sick cause of trying to defeat and dismember Russia. And what is the crime Russia has committed? They had a president who stood up in 1999 and said, I will not allow my nation to be destroyed by the West. We will no longer play the role of submissive, colonial, pathetic pet to the Western economic rape that's taking place. We refuse to play that game anymore. But he didn't say, I want to compete with the West. He just simply said, I want Russia to rise up and live. And we can't even allow Russia to do that. And we're willing to sacrifice Ukraine for this perverted cause. I dream about war crime tribunals someday, and I'd love to have Michael McFaul up there, and I'd love to have Barack Obama, and I'd love to have every single one of these people who have allowed the United States to embrace these horrific Fiona Hill. We can go on, all what I call the Putin whisperers, all these so-called Russian experts who have built their resumes on nothing other than articulating the same tired argument that Vladimir Putin is a dictatorial autocrat. He is not. That Russia is an expansive imperialistic power. It is not. Go to Russia, visit Russia, meet the Russian people. You'll fall in love with them because they're good people. It's a good country. They have a solid history. They have great culture. They have a religion that they believe in. I don't say that I'm Orthodox and all that, but they believe in it, and you have to respect that. You have to respect their faith. You have to respect their history, respect their culture, respect them as people. And we don't. We don't. All the things we demand of us as Americans. You have to respect us as Americans. Okay, earn it. Earn it. What have we done for the last decades? We've destroyed ourselves morally by engaging in illegal wars of occupation and aggression throughout the Middle East. We've destroyed our reputation by not standing for anything, especially arms control. We've withdrawn from all the treaties that matter. We lie about the one treaty that remains. We are literally the epitome of all that one could say could possibly be wrong with the country. And we don't even begin to talk about what we see on the streets here. I can go 5 minutes right now and find hundreds of homeless people in the streets of Albany, and that's nothing to compare to what's going on in the big cities around this country. I can find entire neighborhoods that are boarded up because of poverty, because of drugs, because of the fear that's brought by a society that doesn't care for them. They've been abandoned by the American dream. And yet we have the gall to lecture Russia for standing up and rebuilding a country that we destroyed in the 1990s? It sickens me. It sickens me. You know, I'm not going to pretend that Russia's perfect. It's not. Find a Russian who'll tell you it's perfect. They won't. Russians are like anybody else. They can tell you what needs to be fixed. But they love their country, and they have a reason to love their country. It's a country worth loving. Unlike what's going on right now, we are sacrificing Ukraine. And again, I'm going to get emotional, but it breaks my heart.
Me too.
Can I ask, because a question I've often wondered,
Me too.
which is about why is